Everyone, good morning and welcome to our assembly for week 2 of term 1. We are well underway now. As Mr. Fulliger told our Year 12s on Friday, the welcome is over. It's down to the business of the term. A special shout out to our McKenna House men who are watching online in Tierney Auditorium, so they're together, they're not in their PCs. But so that we could accommodate our guests today and so that everybody in the room can have a seat. Everybody seated. We have moved them up to McKenna. On occasions like this where we will be welcoming parents as guests, then we will take it in turns to watch together in Tierney, house by house. As always, Nudgee College acknowledges the Turrbal people of Meanjin, the First Nations peoples of this district and part of the oldest living, continuing culture in the world. They are the traditional custodians of these lands and waterways, which they call Nuwaji and Nada, and we call Nudgee. We acknowledge their ancient customs, the law of the land, and we pay our respects and acknowledge all ancestors, elders, and communities across this continent and its neighbouring islands. Normally, I would now introduce someone who would lead you in prayer, but you will not be led in prayer today. You will pray together. As in the acknowledgement of country, we acknowledge custom. And a community, all communities have customs and traditions. And one of the greatest customs here at Nudgee is our school song and our ability to sing it in different places on different occasions for different purposes. We're able to do that because it is written for us and set to a well-known tune. When Gustav Holst wrote that music in the early part of the 1900s, he did so with a grandeur and a solemnity. And so it is a popular tune for adopting by different organisations as a popular hymn or song. It is a very popular English hymn called I Vow to Thee, My Country. And when World Rugby was looking for a tune to which to write a rugby hymn for the World Cup, they chose that piece of music, known as Jupiter's Theme, for the rugby hymn. And so a Nudgee boy, about 25 years ago, hearing it set as a hymn for rugby, thought we could do the same. Nudgee College could have its own song set to that music. And so he wrote the words to what we call Sign of Faith. Now, it didn't automatically become the school song. It wasn't adopted straight away with the same energy and enthusiasm with which we use it now. And like any community, sometimes it is a crisis that brings out a new tradition or a new custom. So whilst the song had been around for 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, it wasn't until 2003, 20 years ago this year, that the Nudgee students in the grandstand started to sing it after games. Because in that season, 2003, the first 15 lost every game in all 9 rounds. And so the song was used as a way of saying to the team and to the community, it's okay, we'll come back. And sure enough, they did. And the song then found a place in our grandstand, in our hearts, and in our chapel. And we can use it in different ways, in the same way as this music is used in stadiums and in churches. We can use it in the grandstand and we can use it in our chapel because of that grandeur and that solemnity balanced in the actual music. So let's have a look at what Eamon Flack, the Nudgee student who wrote the words, was trying to do when he wrote the Sign of Faith. He's written it in two voices. It's always very important to remind ourselves about this. There is a transition in the song that we need to be conscious of if we are to sing it and give it its real meaning. There is a transition, there is a growth. Because the first verse, it sets the scene. It says very much, this is Nudgy, this is the scene, this is the context. This is the community. But the second verse starts with an individual. There's a love I do not know. The singular. This is a young man just starting his Nudgy journey. Whilst the first verse is the Nudgy context, the second verse is just the young bloke starting out. He feels on his own. There's a love I do not know. Other sounds and furies call. This is a big place with a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff to drag you in. It's easy to get lost and confused. But he recognises something in this community that speaks to his heart. Great honour, great glory, great voice in great song. Because often when we sing in one voice, that we are able to include everyone. No one feels alone when you are joined in song. That's an important function of singing. However, on his Nudgy journey, there were ups and downs. There were times when the glory and the singing and the great sound and fury didn't work. There were some times when he still felt alone, when he still felt excluded. But he knew he could remind himself that amongst the hubbub and the noise, and even in the quieter times, he could hang on to one thing, that he was a sign of faith, that he was a part of this community, that he wore the badge on his shirt and his blazer, and he was, no matter how great or how alone he felt, he was a part of this community. It's a community of love, as all Christian communities are. And so then at the end of his journey, he can stand and say, there's a love I did not know. This is the past tense now. This is the end of the journey. Whether he's a year 12 man leaving or whether he's an old boy looking back after 50 years, Eamon Flack leaves us to imagine that ourselves. All we know is that now we're looking back on a journey in which there was great sound and fury, there was great honour, great glory, great voice and great song. But no matter where you find yourself at the end of year 12, or no matter where you find yourself in 50 years' time, every one of you will always be able to say, I am a sign of faith. And it's that being the sign of faith which makes you one of the 10,000 brothers, not the other way around. We love the fact that you love to emphasise the 10,000 brothers in this song. It is where the phrase comes from. That concept of the 10,000 brothers didn't exist before the song. You have the song, you have Flack to thank for that. But you can't sing that if you are not a sign of faith. So as loud as you may sing the second last line, you must double down and sing the last line just as loud, because it is what gives meaning to the 10,000 brothers. Without the sign of faith, without the badge, there's no community to be a part of. So a contemporary of Gustav Holst, the man who wrote the music, Ralph Vaughan Williams, said, the art of music above all the other arts is the expression of the soul of a nation. And we can say that this song, above almost everything else, is an expression of our soul. When people hear us sing this, they can see into our hearts. We proclaim who we are. We proclaim our identity. And so singing it well is important. Because if we're singing it poorly, then we have to ask ourselves, exactly what are we proclaiming? Exactly what are we telling the world what Nudgy is? So Ms. Gafagi is going to lead us. We will sing it together as our prayer. We will sing it well. We will teach this to the new members of our community, and they will learn it And by joining in with their 10,000 brothers in one voice, they will feel that they are a sign of faith. So there's no one to kick you off. You'll hear the music. Those of you who know it when to come in, let's make it clear, let's make it loud, let's make it good. Stand up. Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to have another go at that. That was a bit weak, that was a bit lame, to be honest. Great glory, great song when you're mumbling. Clear, strong. Right from the get-go. In our hearts. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Well done, gentlemen. A good start to the year.
Thank you, Mr. Mara, and thank you for your voice, boys. Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, colleagues, parents and friends, both here and online, and of course, Nudgy boys. This is our first full week of learning and teaching. We've welcomed each other back. We've met some new people, new classmates, new teachers, new timetables settled. We've listened to establishing assemblies and we enjoyed an Australia Day holiday. And to echo Mr. Mara, the welcome back is over and the rhythm and the routine of learning as the central part of what we do is upon us. And it's my great pleasure to sort of launch that with you today. So some of us have already taken a step forward and demonstrated sound organisation. And I implore boys in Year 8 to 12 in your upcoming SF lessons, pay attention to the studies focus that will be there in coming weeks. And to Year 5 to 7 boys, your core teachers will help you on that journey in becoming a better learner. Boarders, I also note yesterday evening when I left that your study sessions are now in full swing. Please take advantage of those moments. But beyond stating that, these experiences, I need to try and help you this morning with a few simple operational points about how to do it. It's all very well for me to say it, but how do you do it? First thing, know what to study. And if a slide comes up in a moment, in Years 7 to 12, unit outlines are being posted into your student cafe this week and into the parent lounge. Open those up. Use them to find out what's happening week to week and also to find out when assessment is due. That will help you know what to study. Ask your teacher or your PC tutor to help you if you're unsure. The second thing is to know when to study. As Mr. Mara said, sounds and furies call, we get distracted. How do we focus our time? Yesterday I shared an email with you with a study planner. Some boys have been onto the Elevate website. I also provided the link for you. We use it all the time to help us with our study. Have a look at that planner. Plan out when you are going to study. If you're a younger student, do that with your parents. Stick it on the fridge and own it. The last thing you need to know is where you're going to study. And that applies to both home, in boarding and in the classroom. So where do you sit and study at home? Are you without distraction? Where do you sit during boarding study sessions? But who do you also sit next to in class, and are they a good influence on your learning? And are you prepared with the basic materials that you need? Some of those simple W questions can help you in working out how to do that. That's the operational stuff. Now I'd like you to look at this image of a lighthouse here, which is going to be a theme to help us in 2023. I want you to consider now a bit more deeply what that might mean to you and your learning. So for those of you who don't know, the function of a lighthouse provides clear courses for ships at night as they navigate, keeps sailors safe, allows them to reach their destination and avoid danger. We should know that. But a lighthouse for learning symbolically can mean a lot more. It could mean for you a beacon of hope. It could mean a homecoming as you return to Nudgee at the start of this year. A lighthouse is enduring. It's always there, no matter what's going on in your learning. It's dependable. It sends us the light, the signal we need, whenever we need it. And lastly, it's resilient. No matter what's standing in your way, no matter what's going in your life, it stands there resolutely against the stormy seas. So the lighthouse in our classrooms can be a symbol to bring us back to what we should be doing and how we're going to go about doing it this year. Now, you're all on very different journeys. You've got different cargo on your ships, you're seeking different destinations depending on your Nudgee journey. But we all sail on the same sea, and we all need that guidance to help us on our way. Nudgee College provides that beacon for you. It shines for all ships, carrying all cargo to all points of the compass. We're a school, and learning and teaching is one of our brightest beacons. It's also important, however, to understand that lighthouses don't sail out from their position to come and collect you from the stormy sea. They don't jump on your boat and take you back into the harbour or onto your next destination. You are the captain of your own ship. The important distinction, you're the captain of your own ship. And just as I mentioned things you can do to organise your studies this week, remember that you have to keep that ship seaworthy. Scrub the deck, trim the sail, check on your crew, chart the course. Use the lighthouse to guide you, but sail your own ship. But please remember that as you chart that course, you are supported. There's not one lighthouse at Nudgee College, but many lighthouses. In fact, they're all around you. But did you see their call? Have a look for it. They're dotted along the coastline as we're on a ship's journey, but there's plenty to guide you over the years. A few that come to mind when I was writing this speech. Learning habits can guide the way. Reporting and feedback from teachers can guide the way. Your parents can guide the way. The peers sitting next to you can guide the way. Teachers provide the strongest example of guiding that way. And of course, the example of Edmund Rice guides the way. So specifically, boys, think about who are your lighthouses of learning. Make sure you identify them in the next week or so. But what happens if we don't have the courage to live the spirit by prioritising our learning? Bit by bit, if our ropes rot, our sails tear and our hulls leak, we will hit the rocks, we will sink, we may perish, we may not reach our destination, but we may not provide ourselves the opportunity to set sail for the next one, and that's important. So if you're a good student, you can be a lighthouse to others. We're all servant leaders of Nudgee, and the classroom is no different. But if you're not currently making every lesson count, don't fear. Even if the seas are choppy and you can't see the lighthouse for the fog, know that those dependable lighthouses, some of them which I see around this room, are there for you. Persist. Keep charting that course and they'll come into sight. and they'll only get brighter with each step you make. So when you look at this poster in your classrooms, focus on your destination. Let those lighthouses restore your confidence and resilience. And also be kind to everyone so we can all make safe passage. And this will truly make us a shining beacon and a lighthouse for learning. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, members of CLT, staff, parents, and my Nudgy brothers. The new year to boarding is always an exciting time for everyone involved. Not only is it the time that the spirit of Nudgy is reunited, but a time that we get to welcome a vast amount of new boarders into our community. A community that we love to share, and a community that we look forward to seeing Nudgy men thrive in. The first week back at school has proven to have both its ups and downs, but one I can say on behalf of the boarding community was a success. Over the course of last weekend, the Nudgy boarding community experienced our weekend in, which occurs on the first weekend of every term. On Friday night, each boarding house had their own activities, which gave an opportunity for boys in each house to spend time together and connect with each other. On Saturday, after the new boarders' first mass, the night was filled with a variety of different activities where the boys enjoyed each other's company by going to Laser Zone, playing laser tag, going to the arcade, or playing bubble soccer on Wilkes. These activities were cohort-based and gave us all time to build positive relationships with boys both new and old who will be a part of our journey at Nudgy. After these more exclusive activities, all of the boarders linked back up on Sunday to enjoy a fun day at Wet n Wild. After many hours of swimming, going to various rides, and getting some food, we were all exhausted yet very fulfilled. I would also like to take this opportunity on behalf of us boarders to say a huge thank you to Mr. Brealey, Mr. Silcock, all the heads of house and boarding staff, and of course to our new Rec Activities Coordinator, Mr. Fabio Westphal, for making the start of the term an action-packed and enjoyable time for all involved. Your work behind the scenes does not go unnoticed, and as always, it was a great weekend to connect with our year levels, the greater Nudgy boarding community, and of course, with our new brothers. Thank you.
Thank you, Genji. Excellent work. Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, CLT, staff, and gentlemen of Nudgy College. I'm going to ask Mr. Fulliger to make his way to the stage, as today I have the honour of presenting the NC Debating Senior A Team of 2023 on behalf of Coaching Director, Mr. Dominic Carroll. These boys have achieved their place in the team through demonstrated dedication to the battleground that is debating. They participated in last year's development squad and fought for their positions in trials before attending training sessions on the weekends during the holidays. They are prepped, proud and ready to pounce on their opponents, starting with Ipswich Grammar this week. Please welcome and congratulate Jacob Gillam, Anthony Minio, you can clap at the end, it's all good. Dominic Webber, and Captain of Debating, Oliver Keel. And I welcome Oliver.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, parents and carers, members of the CLT, and my fellow Nudgy brothers. 2023 is shaping up to be a very promising year for Nudgy debating. We have a strong team and experienced coaches and are hoping to go far in both the GPS and QDU competitions. Over the past few weeks, the Senior A has participated in several pre-season activities, including practice debates against BBC, Nudgy's first ever season launch and great debate, and a debating camp on Sunday. It was great to see so many of the younger boys giving debating a go and having fun with their mates. Furthermore, our season launch and great debate were a massive success. Even though we lost the coaches, everyone enjoyed the free food and entertaining debate. We have 2 home debates coming up. This Friday against Ipswich Grammar and next Friday against Terrace. Last year we were able to fill Terrace's auditorium and the look on their faces was priceless. I hope we can do the same next Friday. Let's bring the grandstand to Teeny Auditorium. Keep your eyes peeled for a spirit video for Terrace Round. Finally, a special thanks to our coaches, coordinators and directors who make debating at Nudgee possible. I'd now like to invite Arts Prefect Will Duffield to the stage.
Just try new things. Don't be afraid. Step out of your comfort zones and soar. Admired author, public speaker, and former First Lady of the US, Michelle Obama, proclaimed that we must just try new things. Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, CLT, staff, parents, and Nudgee men. I am William Duffield, one of your arts prefects for 2023. Last week, you were challenged to be a balanced me in 23 through all facets of college life. I know it may be overwhelming, but in the arts portfolio, we want to make this ride smooth for you all and have so many immersive initiatives just for you. Today, I'd like to briefly mention some amazing opportunities that allow you to try new things and become as balanced as can be. This semester in Tech, we offer 2 clubs. For all students in years 7 to 12 interested in participating in the eSport Technology Club, a Google Forms sign-on will be available in the student notices this afternoon. Training sessions will run weekly on a Wednesday afternoon in the Cleary Building Computer Labs. Additionally, all Year 5 and 6 students interested in exploring, creating, and having fun with technology are encouraged to ask their parents if they have signed up for the Junior Tech Club through the Nudgee College app, which will run from week 4. Alternatively, please speak to Mrs. Kathy Lamb. Finally, if you love writing, storytelling, and developing personal skills, we have a new initiative called the NC Writers Circle, which will run weekly on a Tuesday afternoon in the library. Again, all students are encouraged to sign on through the student notices where you can find out more information about all activities. I now welcome Tom Mallett, my fellow arts prefect, to inform you about other exciting opportunities. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, CLT, staff, and Nudgee men. A Balance Me in 2023 has officially begun underway, as our performing arts clubs have made a start for the year. Our music ensembles span every day of the week, with our newest spirit choir on Mondays with Miss Gafagi, rock bands on Tuesdays, and where Mr. Dupuy runs them, where sign-ups are closed tomorrow and all auditions are held on Thursday and Friday, to the end of the week where our NC Brotherhood with Mr. Smith is on, so there's not a morning to miss out. To join any of these groups, email music@Nudgee or look at the student notices. Additionally, Art Club on a Wednesday afternoon with Miss Ellis is a fantastic opportunity to release a creative side of yourself you may have never known. Every Monday and Thursday lunchtime, there will be training for the theatre sports run by Miss Kilgore, though the competition begins in term 2, so be quick to join. Starting this afternoon, musical rehearsals for Footloose will be held every Tuesday and Thursday afternoons in TD Auditorium, our space for our theatrical arts. Sign-ups are still open till the end of the week, and to all those who would like to apply, you are welcome to make contact with Miss Kilgore. Please feel free to email any relevant staff for more information. Just try new things. Let's all be a balanced me in 2023. Please welcome Mr. Lang, Director of Cricket, to the stage.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, members of the CLT, Nudgee students, staff and families. Last Saturday, 28 of our 30 Nudgee teams commenced their GPS cricket seasons during our bye round, with internal and supplementary fixtures played across the day. I'm really excited about the way our teams are playing cricket at the moment. There's a nice mixture of enthusiasm, positivity and always our team-first approach. The real business commences this Saturday in round 2 action against Ipswich Grammar. I'd like to congratulate all of our cricketers and coaching staff for their hard work across a long but productive pre-season. This includes tours to Adelaide, the Sunshine Coast, numerous holiday clinics, representative carnivals and the recent Brisbane Schools Cup. Big thanks to staff members Mr. Sepatosh, Mr. Brown, Mr. Lilly, Mr. Burton and Mr. Palmer for giving up their holiday time and Saturdays to coordinate tours, clinics and GPS cricket. Our first 7 squad prepared exceptionally well under the guidance of Terry Oliver and Mr. Palmer. I have a feeling this group to my left can produce something very special over the next 8 weeks. They're a wonderful group of nudgy men who possess plenty of skill and cricket IQ. I know they'll represent themselves, their teammates and the college with the utmost dignity. Boys, play without fear and tackle every challenge head on. I'd like to welcome our rookie Year 5 cricketers into the program, along with all of our new students who have commenced at Nudgee and joined the cricket program recently. Hope you can settle in your new school surroundings with ease and enjoy your first season of GPS sport. To all Nudgee cricket representatives, please remember to show respect to your teammates, your coaching staff, the officials and your GPS opponents throughout the 2023 season. But most importantly, respect the wonderful opportunity you've been given to represent this college and play competitive sport with your mates. It now gives me great pleasure to present Jack Balkin as our first 11 cricket captain for 2023. Recently, Jack captained the winning Queensland under-17s team in the Cricket Australian National Championships. Jack has developed into an excellent leader over the past 12 months. He's an outstanding cricketer in his own right, and I know how eager he is to lead his team throughout the season. Can we please welcome Jack to the stage to present the first 11 team?
Our Nudgee College first 11 cricket team for 2023 is Kane Nielsen, Matthew Fielding, Bailey Todd, Carmichael Dees, Fergus McFadgen, Armitage Sidhu, Jackson Andrews, Angus McLean, Carter Corliss, and Ed Kasperwich. And head coach Terry Oliver.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, members of CLT, special guests, parents, staff, and men of Nudgee College. My name is Theo Bitteridge, and it's my privilege to stand before you for the first time as volleyball director as we look ahead to the 2023 GPS volleyball season. This year is shaping up to be the biggest yet for Nudgee Volleyball, with over 40 teams lining up to compete each week. I'd like to take this moment to thank all of our coaches and staff who are involved in the program. You are truly invaluable in creating an enjoyable volleyball experience for every boy involved, and I feel very blessed to be a part of such a supportive community. It would be remiss of me not to mention the work of Mr. Luke Condon, who put in countless hours over the previous 18 months to continue to grow volleyball at Nudgee College. So we thank you, Mr. Condon. 2023 is a year of huge opportunity and one where I truly believe Nudgee can stamp its mark as a force within volleyball and GPS. One significant addition this season has seen the introduction of Year 5 and 6 volleyball, and I'm looking forward to seeing our youngest Nudgee men take the court for the first time this weekend. On the other end of the spectrum, our first 6 have been working tirelessly for months as they aim to defend their premiership. They've had a strong form throughout pre-season, capped off with a silver medal at the Australian Volleyball Schools Cup in December. They're now looking to build on this momentum, starting this week against Ipswich Grammar, but they will need your support. I'd like to wish all the best to everyone playing in the first fixture this weekend. Whether you're playing in the 5As, the third 6, or the 7Gs, remember at the end of the day, it's all about representing your school, playing with your mates, and enjoying your volleyball. At Nudgee College, we play hard and we play to win, but we're always gracious in defeat and humble in victory. We fight for every single point, we celebrate with our team, and we support our mates until the end. Go well this weekend. It's now my pleasure to invite 2023 volleyball captain Ryan Heaton to present this year's first 6 volleyball squad.
Good morning, Mr. Fulger, members of CLT, invited guests, parents, and my fellow Nudgee brothers. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate all volleyball players and their respective teams on a great pre-season. No doubt, all your hard work will lead to further improvement, and I wish you all the best of luck for the season ahead. I'd love to see everyone come and support the boys, as it means heaps due to the amount of work we've put in the hopes of achieving back-to-back premierships. Finally, I would like to wish the best of luck to all cricket teams competing this weekend. I would now like to invite Mr. Fulger to the stage. I'm now delighted to present to you the 2023 First 6 volleyball team. Please hold your applause to the end. Archer Springer, Ben Larson, Elliot Mills, Emmanuel Taviri, Gab Gary, Jack McBride, Lachlan Hindenburg, Ned Clark, Vice Captain, Rylan Carlisle, Timothy Phillip, and Tom Isles. Ladies and gentlemen, your first 6 team.
Remember back in the day when you taught me to live and I taught you to pray. We went in the battle together, no matter the weather, we never delayed. You gave me commands, I always obeyed. I never let you go astray. I never thought I'd see the day that you would come and just betray me. Sick of playing silly games, you never loved me anyway. You should not have let me get away, cause now I'm hunting for my prey. I'm bigger, I'm better, my mind is a weapon. I won't ever let up. You try to break me down and I'ma just get up. They ask me how I did it, I'ma just tell them I rose up. I'm a survivor. Fight for my life. Coming back stronger. I will arise. I'm a survivor. Fight for my life. Coming back stronger. I will arise.
Good morning. Morning staff, morning parents, thanks for staying with us this morning. To the boys in McHenry, of course, and to those online. Morning Nudgee men. Boys, just sit up, please. Pretty long assembly so far. You've done terrifically well. Thank you for the positive start that we've made to the term in the first week and in these first couple of days of the second week, really laying the groundwork for what will be a good year. The foundations of being organised, of being focused on the time ahead has been very, very important. Can I just acknowledge Mr. Mara and Mr. Sepatos for their words today at the start of Assembly, the story of our school song, as well as Mr. Sepatos' presentation around learning and teaching and those Lighthouse values. So important, boys. And while we get excited around volleyball and we get excited about esports and all those other things that the school has to offer, it's a reminder always that Lighthouse value, my expression is, the main game for us is Monday to Friday, boys. For those new boys who come in, we get caught up in all those other things, but reminder, every day, the simple task of, not simple task really, in reality, of getting through class every day, being focused, being organised and doing those things and committed every day, day in and day out is the main game here at school. If I could attempt to join a couple of those themes of our story that Mr. Mara talked about, those Lighthouse values and what we're about as well, to the past of Nudgee back to the present of today. Mr. Mara, when he talked about the school song, is talking something about who we are as a school, taking us back even to relatively recent history, back to 1996. I brought with me today the history of Nudgee, which was written up until 1991. It was a book compiled by Father Boland at the time, on the time of our centenary, 100 years of Nudgee College. And for those boys who've been here for a little while, we know we've got a great story at Nudgee of those who've gone before us, those 10,000 brothers. And for those boys who've joined us this year, you're going to add to that story. All of us combined, 1,700 boys together this year, will write the story of 2023, and that will be an exciting adventure of challenge and opportunity and great reward in the time ahead. But if we go back, it's a reminder also when we look back is we haven't always had what we have today. In fact, when you go back 100 years to 1923, how many boys are actually here at Nudgee? You might be surprised to know that there were only 230 boys at Nudgee 100 years ago. They were all boarders. Interestingly, for some reason, a combination of things which is talked about in the book, we lost nearly 60 boys from 1922 to 23. So the enrolment went down from 290 down to 230. At Nudgee today, we've got 1,710 boys at the college. Over 300 boarders and the school is full. It hasn't always been that way. The school was going through a challenging time. The school had gone through a building period as well in the years prior, the years around where we are 100 years on. And the book refers to three key structures which were the focus of the college at that time. The focus of excellence at that time. The first was the building of the chapel, the Lady Help of Christians Chapel in 1916, which represents the faith part of the school, the centre of that of the Nudgee Star. So that was built at great cost to the college at the time. Up until 1916, the Tracy building, as you know it today, largely was the centre of the school, but that was the only buildings that were here for 20 years. Down here was scrubby bush. The flats weren't even in existence as you understand them today. There were some fields, but they're rough old fields, not playing fields as we think of them today. Areas where some crops and things were grown and cattle were looked after to feed the boarders at the time. So the Tracy building and the first additional building was the chapel in 1916. Just a few years after that, they built Dewig. Many of you have classes in the Dewig building overlooking Edmund Rice Mall on one side and, of course, Ross Oval on the other. So in 1919, when that building was built over 100 years ago, there was a real statement about learning and teaching. That building standing on its own was saying something about learning and teaching is important at this place. And so it was the second building, the church or the chapel first, faith, then Dewig, learning and teaching. What have we talked about today? Faith in that song that Mr. Mara talked about us. Learning and teaching from Mr. Mara. What came third? What was the next focus? Well, in the 1920s, they started to build an oval that we call Ross Oval today. In fact, it was just bare earth. When boys used to do the wrong thing in boarding in class, the brothers used to send boys not to detention on a Wednesday or a Friday afternoon. You weren't gated in boarding. What was your reward for doing the wrong thing in class, or your punishment rather for doing the wrong thing in class? Well, boys, you could spend a few hours walking up and down what we call Ross Oval today, which was rocky old soil. Your job was to dig out the rocks of that oval back in the 1920s. So we thanks to those boys who did the wrong thing 100 years ago, who spent hours labouring to build the foundations of what we now call Ross Oval. It took them several years to build Ross Oval. It was only completed, and it was only called the main oval. It gets called Ross a little bit later in our history. That main oval was only finished in around 1927, and they started, it was a pride of the college. When they laid the turf and the soil that became the oval. They were very proud of it. And it was said, as it says in the book here, if it was correct in his view of school life, a gentleman called Dean Stanley, and Dean Stanley was correct in his view of the school, Nudgee now had 3 consecrated a religious word, consecrated foci. Focus, remember one of our themes for me is being focused. The chapel, the school, and the oval. All were handsome to the eye, uplifting to the spirit. Brother Ryan, one of the legendary headmasters of the college, Brother Ryan's ideal of excellence. And again, we go back to excellence as part of one of the values of Nudgee today. Brother Ryan's ideals of excellence in all fields of endeavour now had an exquisite setting. Well, if that was written 30 years ago, it would be absolutely the case that we have an exquisite setting today, boys. That's even better than what we had 30 years ago, and even better than what we had just a few years ago. And things change, and the school's grown, and things develop over time, as they should. But certain things remain at the heart of what we do. So today we've talked faith. Today we've talked learning and teaching. Today we've also featured sport. I would add one thing to the areas of excellence. I would have had in our language today, sport and activities. Sport and cultural activities would have been the third thing in that focus if we were writing this book sometime on. And indeed, in the spirit of today, I think there would be a fourth. That would be community. At the heart of this great school is that sense of community that you contributed to, that your parents who are here are with us today, the staff who were here in years past, the parents in years past, as well as old boys in the years past, have all built that great community. So, having said all that, to what is ahead, boys, and the weekend, it's been mentioned by a couple of the speakers. Terrific this weekend. Good luck to the first, good and well done to those boys congratulated at the school. Sport, we are on mass participation program, 30 or something cricket teams, 30 or something volleyball teams, hundreds of boys playing for their school. Terrific. Mass participation leading to some excellence in terms of the first teams. We wish every one of you well. Boys, if you're year 12 and you're starting your last adventure of playing for Nudgee, or you're a year 5 boy about to play his first game this weekend, when you put that jersey on, when you put that cap on, you're not just playing for yourself, you're playing for the college. You represent the college, the very best of what we expect of you. As it's been said before, we expect to win, we play hard, but it's not actually about winning. It is about what you learn in that experience. It is about the name of the college. It is about the values that you show when you win or when you lose. How you conduct yourself on the court, on the field. How you conduct yourself off the field. How you conduct yourself at the shop on the way home when you've got the jersey on. How you talk to a member of public, wherever that person might be. Other parents from other schools, and many of our parents, don't sit and listen to what we talk about here at school. They don't know what happens Monday to Friday in this school. You and I do. So how do they judge us? They judge you by what they see on Saturday afternoon on the sidelines of the cricket field or on the sideline of the court. Our expectations, again, are excellence in your behaviour, in your way you conduct yourself with each other, with the boys from the other schools, with anyone who is in those places. Boys, I love Saturdays at school, and they are always better if we get Monday to Friday right. So let's get Monday to Friday right, and let's have a great day this Saturday and the Saturdays ahead. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, staff, members of CLT, and my fellow Nudgy brothers. My name is Shane Rapulli, and I'm one of your 3 community prefects of 2023. Our portfolio is for students' wellbeing and community building, and we hope that all staff and students have settled into the new school year well. And now with the first week behind us, we're embedding all our daily routines that will lead us into a successful term 1. Boys, happiness is a tricky concept. Sometimes it seems to us like a holy grail, mythical, wonderful, and probably unobtainable. But positive physiology suggests that happiness is more than obtainable. It's a natural result of building up our well-being and our satisfaction with life. Here at Nudgy, we want boys to be able to flourish in all aspects of their life. Over the next few weeks, we'll be delving into each of the PERMA topics in a little more detail. The first section is on developing is positive emotions. Happy people look back on the past with gratitude, look into the future with hope, and will enjoy and cherish their presence. This doesn't mean that negative things won't happen, rather than a specific focus on positive things. So how could you do this? On the screen behind me, there's some simple actions that young people could do every day to help develop their positive emotion. Some of these are random acts of kindness, affirmation cards, go to our strengths, and spend times on things we love doing. But always, the outcome is confidence to keep trying when things get tough. The week ahead looks like this. On Wednesday, we have Inter-House Swimming Carnival, years 5s and 6 and 11s in periods 1 and 2, year 9s and 10s in period 3 and 4, year 7s, 8s and 12s after lunch. You are permitted to wear your PE uniform all day. Remember your swimmers, hats, sunscreens and towel. On Thursday, we have Duggan House breakfast in Teenie. Friday, Barrett House breakfast in the Ross Rotunda. Teenie House breakfast in Teenie Auditorium. In periods 1 and 2, we have our commencement mass. In periods 3 and 4, we have normal classes, and in periods 5 and 6, we have our SOS interviews. Students year 7 and 9 will remain in their house space for the time outside of the interview with their house deans. In year 10, we'll have year 10s are in Ryan Hall, year 11s in Bingo, and year 12 in Teenie. Boys, remember on Friday we have GPS debating, round 2 versus Ipswich, so come down here, support the boys. And on Saturday we have rowing grade number 2 out of the dam. In GPS we have cricket and volleyball as well, having their first round against Ipswich here on our home turf. And boys, remember our culture, if you play, you stay. Thank you.
Morning everyone. A wonderful assembly this morning, and can I thank all those staff and boys who have contributed so well to that. So many wonderful messages for us to take home, and a great celebration of not only the diversity of our community, but the opportunities we have and the gifts we share every day. So let's take that forward, gents. This morning has been a big assembly, so we're going to move quickly. Our focus is getting to period 2 on time. So let's finish now with college senior Aidan Easton giving us our 3 cheers.
3 cheers for the academic year ahead. Let's study hard. 3 cheers for Borders and the great weekend in. 3 cheers for our senior age mating, first loving cricket, first volleyball. Let's shove it to the main and boys. 3 cheers for our swimmers. We've got to get around it. Boys, let's make this one loud. In go in. Yeah. In go in. Yeah. In go in. Yeah.
Thanks, Aidan. If I could just ask our parents if you would like to move first. If you move out through the foyer. Staff and gents on Hendry Oval, straight to period 2, thank you. You can leave that side. Year 10 men, we're packing up the black chairs only today.